Hi, I'm Mayor Bain Brooks. This is Let's Dish, the video series where I interview different people in the Allen community that are bringing positivity to our city. Our guest today is Melinda Kaiser. She's the founder and executive director of JCK Resources, a local organization dedicated to empowering adults with special needs. Welcome, Melinda Kaiser.
Thank you.
You know, Melinda, you and I have known each other for many, many years, and I've watched you and your family just be dedicated to this community in so many different capacities. I mean, I had the privilege of serving with your husband, Kirk, on the city council. He was one of my favorite because, you know, Kirk was always honest. You never had to worry about Kirk. But it was just been a pleasure watching y'all in this community. But it's not about Kirk today. It is about you and your organization. And just give me a little bit about who is Melinda Kaiser.
Melinda Kaiser is someone who feels passionate about people with disabilities, about those that are underserved. I think I've always been that way. I'm always the one that wants the underdog to do well and willing to stick out my neck to make that happen the best I can. I grew up in Plano. At that time, it was a very small town. There were probably, 15 to 20,000 people that lived there. When I went off to school and then came back married, we decided after about 5 years living in Houston to come back. And one of the things that I liked about Allen was that it was kind of like the size of Plano when I moved there. Mm-hmm. So it was a time where people knew each other. And I worked in the school district. I taught kindergarten for, about 13 years. Loved it. And so we've been here to see a lot of interesting things that happened. And it's allowed me a lot of opportunities to do some new things.
So you being in the school district, in the school system for over 30 years, mm-hmm. How did that shape you into what you're doing today?
I think it gave me a lot of confidence. I got to see a lot of new and different things. Education has evolved over the years since I started teaching. I taught kindergarten, I've taught fourth grade, I taught resource, and then ended up in a transition program. And I think all of those things had to be in place to be able to create what I do now.
You know, you're the founder of JCK Resources. Yes. How did that start?
It started at a time when I was ready for something new and different. Have to go back a little bit. JC was our son. He was a special needs individual, graduated, walked the stage at Allen High School. And then at the end of that time, I was teaching in Plano, and they had a program that I thought best served the needs that we wanted for him. So he transferred to Plano, to their transition program that was housed at Collin College. So that was in September of 2010 when he started. And then in November of 2010, he passed away unexpectedly. He had started at the college. He loved it. He came home the first day and told me how great it was. He was with his peers. He was feeling really on top of the world, I guess is how I would describe it. So I worked in resource a few more years after that, and I got a call asking me to apply for a job in this transition program where he was housed. So I didn't really think I was qualified, honestly, but they assured me that I was. So I went to the interview. I was placed there, and I loved it. I found my niche. I found exactly where I was supposed to be.
Wow. So what do you do with these kids on a daily basis?
Good question. We have had the time of our lives. So when we first started, it started with like employment kind of skills, interviewing, resumes, applications, all that kind of stuff. Those are important skills, no doubt. You need to work on those, but we needed something else. So I talked to the families that I was working with, and I said, we have the opportunity to create something awesome. What do you want now? They decided they wanted community. So we started out at private school, the Einstein School in Plano. I had made a connection with the director there. So we started at the school, but I didn't want to be in a school. I wanted something more than that. So authentic is the word that I use. I wanted a business. I wanted to come in and partner with a business and learn some real life skills. We can talk about things a lot, but that's not the way you learn. You learn by being involved in it and happening to you personally. So we started with the Dinosaur Company. They were very welcoming. We came in and we started doing all kinds of things with them. We hosted a story time. We set up for events. We helped a little bit with tours. Not that we know all the dinosaurs, but we could help out with some of the crowd control and things like that. And it was a great experience. But they grew, and we can't take somebody's paid job. That's not what we do. And so that relationship came to a natural end, and we started looking for something else. So the Parks and Recs department here in Allen has been an amazing partner. We're very, very excited to be involved in the community. So I can tell you that we do internships. We are working at the Allen Senior Rec Center. We love being at the Allen Senior Rec Center. We love being a part of that group. We get to do projects with the Heritage Association across the street. We serve lunch. They all have their food handler certification. We've made friends there. We teach a craft class once a month. Things just evolve. All those decorations that you see, we get to do that. That's probably one of my favorite things to do.
Is your organization a nonprofit, a for-profit?
It's a nonprofit.
Okay.
We are a 501c3. We started out just as an LLC, and I'm just going to be honest, the paperwork looked easier to me. And then COVID hit. Yeah. So we decided to go to online services. Our population that we served grew immensely during that time because kids were at home and needing something to do. We did all kinds of activities and things like that. It also gave us a point in time to stop and look at something that we thought we needed to do. So one of those was to apply to be a nonprofit. It also gave us an opportunity, because we had been in business, for a little over a year by that time, to stop and reflect. What do we like that we're doing? What do we want to change? Where do we want to go from here? And COVID actually helped us have the time and opportunity to really reflect. So that was a positive for us. After that kind of worked itself out, then the challenge was to kind of do a little of both, because some people were more comfortable than others in coming back in person, and how to keep all of those people involved. So then we ended up going back in person, and it grew from there. We are a private pay organization, which I think sometimes is a little deceiving.
What does that mean, private pay?
Our explorers pay a tuition. Mm-hmm. And so depending on how often they come and what they choose, we try to keep that as minimal as we can. We have not raised rates, I think, once since we started. And my goal is not, we're all retired teachers. This is not our bread and butter. Right. We want to serve the community. And I've always said I don't want to serve just people who have money. That's not my goal. If I'm going to change the world, I want to change all of it. Mm-hmm. And so we give scholarships if I have somebody that I truly believe needs my services, and I'm going to make it happen. Everybody's going to pay something because I've been burned.
Right.
Thinking back, would I do it again? I would. I think it was the right thing to do.
So if you were to look back, and just kind of reflect a little bit on getting this thing started. And if you were to pick out one, I know there's multiple that you would like to discuss, but if you were to pick out one of the most important reasons why starting this program, what would that be?
I saw kids sitting at home, losing skills, not having anything to do, their parents not knowing what to do with them, but they were capable. Everyone needs an opportunity. Everyone needs somebody to take a chance on them and to help them out. We all have had the benefit of mentors, and I think these guys deserve that.
So you're mentoring.
I would say I was a mentor. I'm not a teacher anymore, although I'll always be a teacher in some form. But I see it as a facilitator, coach kind of mentor situation because I'm not there to tell them that they're wrong or to correct them. I'm there to help them learn to think and to problem solve on their own.
So you're getting them to do things that they can do, and you're getting them to do things that they want to do,
Yes,
and you're coaching them along the
that's my
way.
goal. It's really getting families to see these individuals as capable and getting our community to see them. So everywhere I go, I am influencing someone in some way, right? So if I am out in the community and different strangers that are out in the community with us, they see us. My goal is for us to blend in and not to stand out. So I'm not going to go in with a big group of individuals to a restaurant and it looks different. I want us to go in and just blend in with everybody else. There are some people that I think the special needs umbrella I think is pretty large. And I think sometimes people don't know exactly what it is that I do or what exactly it looks like. So when I'm out in the community, they get an opportunity to see that. And if things don't go perfectly, if there's some issue that arises, then I'm going to deal with it, and they're going to see me deal with it in an appropriate way to help this individual learn how to handle themselves in the future.
So speaking of the future, what's the future for JCK?
In the big picture, my goal is to change the world, right? To make these people an integral part of the community because I know they can be. So one of the ways I do that is the services that we provide. We've added on one thing, and I have one that's a dream. So the one thing that we have added just recently is we call it a SOS, Systems of Support meeting. Because I think parents need to have other parents that will help them solve issues that they have with their child. So it's very similar. The Allen Special Olympics community. When my son was younger, we had M&M meetings, moms needing margaritas. So we would get together and we would talk about it. And there were people that had done more than I have. Their kids were older. And there were some that were younger that had done less than I had. And so we helped support each other. So the parent meeting, I think, that's the goal for that, is to help empower people to think differently. The other piece I want to do, I want businesses to understand what it really looks like to hire these individuals. People who have hired special needs individuals to come together with those that have not, that may be thinking about it or a little unsure, on the fence, whatever it may be. And I want them to talk about the pitfalls, what it looks like for training, how you handle problems, what are your good things, what's the best thing that's happened because of this, how has it changed your business, what would that look like for someone else to try it, and then give them more of a community, a more personal feel, much like what we're doing now, sitting down and talking. Then I want those people to have mentors, so to speak, to maybe think about things in a different way. So that's what I'm working on. I have a plan. We'll see how it goes, but that's my next one because honestly, we are a small boutique kind of service. I don't aspire to be much bigger. I want to know the kids. I want to know their family. I want to know what they're going to think. And I can't be successful, in my opinion, if I get too big. Mm-hmm. I don't like turning people away, though. Right. So there's a challenge there.
Okay. You know, you shared something about the employer who hires a special needs a kid or kids, and how does that change the dynamics of the environment? And I can tell you that it calms the sea because not everyone, I just know that having a kid that we are paying now, everyone comes in the kitchen and says hi, not just to him, but to each other. And I really didn't notice it until you just brought that up, which is something for me to
Nice.
take back.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
you've been a part of this community for such a long time, and you've brought something new and different that's unique to Allen. How have you seen Allen change from the environment that you're in, from in the past to where it is today?
I see opportunities everywhere. I see people that are willing, that are very open-minded. I think for this population, I've told Kurt and I've talked about it years actually. The city of Allen will support this.
Hey, you're right
The
about
city
that.
of Allen will support this. I've always felt that way. I've talked to lots of different businesses. I've talked to individuals. There's a need. The population, the special needs population, is only growing. It is only growing. So there is a need for more programs similar to mine. Maybe not the same. I like being a little bit different, but they may design something that meets different needs because the same thing isn't right for everyone. And I'd like to see that. And I think the city will support that. I think when we moved here, there was one stoplight. You know, signs were posted between the stop sign and a tree to let people know about events. Now we don't have to go anywhere. We can stay here. There are businesses here and opportunities that are available. And I'd like for those to be, I'd like for Allen to look different. I'd like for them to say, oh, Allen's a place to be, because they look at individuals, not just a need or a lack of. They look at everyone uniquely.
As you move forward, do you have the desire to mentor others like yourself to go into other communities?
I would love that. We've talked about that on our board as a growth plan. And I've talked to several people in different places about that. I would be thrilled if somebody wanted to take the model that we have and use that somewhere else, because I think that there's just not enough programs. There is just not enough programs. And I get kids. I had a kid that came from Waco. I'd like to think I'm that awesome,
Yeah.
but I think that there's just not a lot of opportunities because they're looking for something in particular that fits what fits their situation. And I guess this mom thought that was an awesome fit for her son. She sits on my board now. We actually talk quite a bit. I have one that comes from Duncanville, McKinney, Garland, Rowlett, Plano, Allen. So all over, there is a need there. So if I could help build programs in other places, then I would be happy to do that.
So how many are you servicing? How many people are you servicing right now?
We see about 45 to 50 a month in various things. So we have 2 internship programs, the community day, a book club. We do pop-up events like Allen Americans hockey games. And then we host a game day, fourth Sunday of the month at the First United Methodist Church. And so we see a lot of kids there. One of the biggest benefits I've noticed, and you hope for it, but you don't plan for it. You can't, this has to happen organically. They formed a community. Hockey game is where I noticed it. So this is probably 3 years ago, and we are up in a suite. Thank you, Mike Martin. And so I can invite lots of people to that one because it's bigger and it's a little more, it's a more social thing. And so I walked out of the suite, and then I came back in, and I was looking kind of with the new eyes, and everyone is having a good time. Some people are sitting in seats and they're watching the game. Some people are standing up talking. Some people are eating snacks. It looks like any other event that you and I have been to in years past. So that was an aha moment, honestly, because not all those people see each other every month. They see each other just randomly, or some they know better than others. And then the lady that was our hostess in the suite that day happened to be a special ed teacher in another district. And so we started talking. I'd never met her before. And she came in and she goes, "These look like my people." And I said, well, tell me what your people are. So we started talking. She goes, this is really interesting to see. He goes, this is cool. This is what we strive for, is for them to have a community of friends. And that's what's happened. That is probably my pride and joy, honestly.
Really? Wow, that's neat. So as we close, Melinda, you how do people get in touch with you?
So we have a website. It's jckresources.org. Go to that. Our Facebook page is probably the thing that we update the most with things that we're doing. So if you're interested in some of our outings or things that are going on, then that's really the best place to look. There's contact information on both of those, on the website and on the Facebook page.
So if someone wanted to donate to your organization, do you have a link or anything on your...
On our website, we do. We have a way that you can donate. We would love that.
Well, hopefully when folks see this on YouTube, that they'll see the passion that you have for what you're doing, and maybe there's some opportunities for some support. And so we look forward to that. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to come talk about your organization and being on Let's Dish with all the positive things in Allen, Texas. And good luck to you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.